on in relation with Matthew chapter 24 and Luke chapter 21 and Revelation chapter 7. We are entering a great tribulation. This tribulation is different from Armageddon because in style, Armageddon has happened once before. That was during the great flood of Noah. Only 8 souls, people survived. Is going to happen now, and is going to happen 1,000 years after Armageddon, which is called the final test. So from Armageddon, that is going to take place now, very soon. 1,000 years, a period of peace will take place, which we are going to explain what it is, and is going to be another Armageddon, which is called the final test. So Armageddon in style has happened 3 times. Now you see movies made from Hollywood, how Armageddon is going to be. Like the earth opens up, black water comes, earthquakes, building, big skyscrapers fall to the ground, people get drowned from water, fire, sulfur, whatever. Actually, Armageddon is not that way. That's just fantasy. In Armageddon, only humans will be put to sleep. So how that is going to take place? Before we explain how Armageddon is going to take place, now we are talking extemporaneously here. We are explaining as a thought what the Bible explains in Revelation chapter 16. And we expand that with more clarity, because that is related in 4 other places in the Bible where is a combination of money or silver and gold and birds. But before that, let's get to know what is the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation is a step before Armageddon. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 24 that the Great Tribulation never has happened in the past, and when it happens, it will never happen again. So the Great Tribulation happens only once. Armageddon, as we mentioned, has happened in the time of Noah, is going to happen now, and is going to happen as the final test 1,000 years after Armageddon. What is the Great Tribulation? The Great Tribulation is the true God is going to put His thought unexpectedly, suddenly, is going to catch us all by surprise in the minds of all these world leaders. They will come in the same mind and line of thinking to empower United Nations. United Nations in the Bible is described in the book of Revelation as a wild beast with 7 heads of a leopard and 10 horns. 7 heads symbolize 7 world power in Bible history that have dominated over God's people, like Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, and the last, the false prophet that speak frogs or lies, Anglo-Americans. That is the United Nations. So all the governments today will come together as one to empower UN. Now the true God is going to put his thought again into the hearts of UN, of course, all world leaders, to destroy religion. We have over 7,000 denominations in the world, made up of about 42,000 religions. Religion in the Bible, from Revelation chapter 17, 18, and 19, is described as Babylon the Great, because the city of Babylon, ancient Babylon, was a city where all religions took place. And when Babylon was destroyed from Medo-Persian Empire, all nations, all the people that were there, that went all over the world, they took their religious beliefs with them. And these religious beliefs, they multiplied even more and more, where today we have about 42,000 statistically. So religion has been a stumbling block for people to know the true God, his heavenly kingdom government, his Christ, and the purpose for the earth. Because all religions believe when a person dies, the soul survives the body, and the soul goes to heaven, to God, which is a different lie. And they believe the same thing, the same lie. Because Satan told Eve in the Garden of Eden, if you touch from the tree, you will positively become like God and knowing good and bad. He didn't tell her that you will positively die, as the true God told Adam that if you touch the tree, he would positively die. Because death was not a destination for Adam. The true God made Adam logically, reasonably wise. But animals around him were made only instinctively wise, that have no concept of life or death. Adam had the concept of life, and he had the concept of death. The concept of death was because he saw all animals around him, since he was created, dying. But he still was living, and he lived 930 years. If he would not sin, if he would not touch from the fruit that Eve gave to him, that she was deceived, Adam would be alive today. Now, he is dead for 6,000 years by now. And he will continue to be dead forever. That's why Christ is called the last Adam, because what first Adam lost in the Garden of Eden, the last Adam, Christ, gave his life as a sacrifice for us to have this opportunity to live forever, and death not to be any longer a destination in front of us. So here is where the Great Tribulation comes, that religion is going to be crushed to pieces from the world leaders, from UN, and all the property, money, whatever they have, they are going to strip her off. So the Babylon the Great, false religion, is going to be stripped off from these politicians. This is the step before Armageddon. But Christ gave us the opportunity not to taste death, because if we survive the Great Tribulation very soon to happen, we will survive automatically Armageddon. So the angel of the true God is going to protect us. One angel in the Bible, destroyed the second world power, Assyrian army, with 185,000 soldiers within a night. But we have myriads and myriads of angels. But in Armageddon, how Armageddon is going to be now, let's discuss the style. So in the time of Noah, the style was the flood, was the water. People drowned. Noah and his 7 other family members got inside the ark. They survived the flood. And we come from Noah and his 3 sons. Now, Armageddon in style is different. It's not going to be flood. The earth is not going to open up and the water blasts on the air and many people drown again. No. That's why in 4 areas in the Bible is written silver and gold and birds. What does this mean? The true God is going to strike the money, the value of money. So people will throw silver and gold in the street and they will despise it, will abhor it. So money will be hated instead of loved as it is today. This is unbelievable, but that's what the Bible says is going to take place. So the money is going to lose the value. During early 1920s, German mark, Deutschmark, whatever had a name there, then lost the value. So to buy a cup of coffee would cost 300,000 Deutschmarks, and to put sugar in top of it another 150,000. So 500,000 Deutschmark was a cup of coffee with sugar. So the money was thrown into the street, and people were not bothering to pick it up. So that what's happened in Germany in early 90s is going to happen the same thing all over the world in Armageddon. So when the money does not have any longer value, the police will not go anymore to work to sacrifice their life to keep the law and order. Doctors will not go in hospital. All institutions and organizations, they are going to shut down. The supermarkets, people will rob them, will take whatever, toilet paper like during COVID-19 and whatever it is. And they will be empty because nobody cares anymore to work in supermarkets and nobody is going to bring food there. So you will be flushing the toilet only once because Hydro, with the pumps, bring the water to your unit. So you will not have hot water, cold water, water for the toilet. So what's happened? You are going to pee and poo outside. Now when you have no internet and no communication, Facebook or whatever, people, especially this new generation, they are going nuts. They are not going to handle this. So many people, Bible says, when they see these things, will pass out of fear. And too much suicide is going to take place. And besides, anarchy is going to be worldwide anarchy. And the Bible says the majority of people will die by killing each other during this anarchy than from the angel of Jehovah. So people will die by billions. Only a small number, based to Revelation chapter 7, will survive the Great Tribulation and will survive Armageddon. Only a small number. Why this number is going to survive? Because this number has been teaching and preaching these things that I'm preaching to you and teaching to you right now for over 120 years. Before the last day started during 1914 in Armageddon. So these people know the meaning of God's heavenly kingdom government, and they are subject of that government that is heavenly. No more from humans. No more governments that we have today, that they cannot solve even the most elementary issues of humankind like food and shelter. but a government that is going to eliminate death, the death no longer to be a destination in front of us. A government that is going to bring up to life, back to life, our dead loved ones, the righteous and the unrighteous. The righteous, like people that knew the true God, knew his government, since Moses, Abel, even before Moses, David, and so on. And all the righteous people that preach and teach the good news of this heavenly kingdom government. And the unrighteous people are the ones that died in total ignorance. They had no clue what this government is all about, and nobody had, they didn't have the possibility to hear about this government. So another chance is given to them after Armageddon, during the period of 1,000 years, period of peace. So they are going to be put to sleep during Armageddon, sleep of death, and they are going to come back gradually. So we, the survivors of Armageddon, Great Tribulation, Armageddon, will not need to taste death, and gradually we will invite or expect or whatever, wait for the righteous to come back to life, and the unrighteous, that people died in ignorance, to tell them that they have been dead because somebody died. He was crippled, he was 100 years old, he was full of wrinkles. Some people did not have arms, some people were blind, some people were deaf, some people had cancer. Whatever, when they come healthy to life. They will not come to life, back to life like 100 years of age. They will come back like 20 years of age with fresh flesh, and but not perfect flesh, but fresh, good shape. So he did not have arms, or he did not have a leg because of war. He is going to come back with a leg. So when we talk to him that he has been in sleep of death, he is going to believe right away. He's not going to doubt about it, because he sees that all his ligaments are in place, and he is young, he's healthy, but the memory, his attitudes, his mentality, his fleshly weaknesses, his deficiencies are still going to be with him. That's why he has a long period of time during this period of peace to grow toward perfection. So we will teach him the wisdom, spiritual wisdom, biblical wisdom, and he is going to know why he was dead and now he is alive, and now he has the possibility and the chance to know the true God, Jehovah, to know his Michael, Jesus Christ, the resurrected, to know their government, heavenly government, to know the purpose for humankind, that they have the possibility that death not to be any longer a destination in front of them. They will no longer live 2 billion to 2.5 billion seconds, 63 to 80 years of age. They don't need any more medications. They don't need any more dentists or doctors, because they will grow toward perfection. No more police. No more an issue of shelter, because a house outlive us now. But for 1,000-year period, that house is going to be rebuilt 10 times. We'll renovate that. That's why the Bible says constantly we'll build houses, constantly. Because we build them, they will be renovated and renovated, destroyed from the ground, being rebuilt again. No more competition. No more hatred. Love is going to dominate. This is the new human society. So we'll become new in spirit, we'll become new in flesh. We'll always live and never, never dying again. This was the purpose of the true God with Adam and Eve. Adam was made for the earth was made for Adam. Adam to live forever. Now, if in Armageddon there are going to be 9 billion people possibly, and if the Great Tribulation takes place and is going to last for 5 years, Armageddon is not going to last even a month because it's too quick. Now, people that die in Armageddon, we said the money. Now, why birds? Because birds that are going to be produced from the true God are going to consume the flesh of people for the survivors of Armageddon not to be infected by any pandemic influence. So they to survive Armageddon without getting sick. So the birds will consume the flesh of the dead ones, dead people that might be probably 9 billion. So the majority of them are going to come back after Armageddon gradually, because if they don't get put to sleep in Armageddon, they will be a stumbling block for the great crowd or the survivors of the Great Tribulation to start rebuilding the new system after Armageddon. So they need to be put to sleep temporarily until they come back gradually to a number that we, as survivors of Great Tribulation and Armageddon, will be able to control their rebelliousness. You see, that's what the Bible says. We have to keep in mind that this 1,000 years from Armageddon to the final test is mentioned in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, 6 times. 6 times is a reason for it. Is literal. 1,000 years is the most beautiful period for the resurrected to come to know the true God Jehovah, to know His Christ, and to know their government. And they have the possibility for 1,000 years to reach perfection, because they have been tested in an imperfect state. Now, at the end of 1,000 years, which is the final test, they will be tested in a perfect state. The same state, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical state that Adam was, because Adam was tested in a perfect state. That's why Adam is dead today, and he will continue dead forever, because for a person that is perfect, to sin is going to take muscles to sin, is going to sin deliberately and forcefully against his conscience, his inner will. So that's why for this person to sin is very difficult. And for this kind of person is no longer forgiveness. That's why everyone that is perfect and is going to sin deliberately in the final test, when Satan and his demons are released from the place of inactivity based to, again, Revelation chapter 20, they go automatically to the lake of fire, which means second death. Death with no resurrection. Why we say death with no resurrection? Because during the period of peace, 1,000 years, we are not going to come to life only 9.5 billion people that are put to sleep in Armageddon, but another 30 billion people that died during this 6,500 years period of human history since Adam and Eve. So we are talking here about 40 billion people. And the resurrected and the survivors of Armageddon, the great crowd, based to Revelation chapter 7, they will have children. So the number of humans at the final test, because it's not death during 1,000 years, so the number of humans at that time might reach possibly 100 billion people. 100 billion. So 10 times and more than what we have today. And the earth is going to feed them with ease. Because today people live in cities, but outside the cities, when you fly by plane, is nothing until you get back to the cities. So the earth is not populated at all. The earth is abused, is polluted, and give us the impression as if it is overpopulated. That's not true. Now, people, 99.9%, biblically, based on the book of Revelation chapter 20, people will die like the sand of the sea. So 99.9% of that population, of that 100 billion people, will go directly to the second death. And there is not going to be any hope of resurrection. So they are gone for good with Satan the devil and his demons. And death, which is the last enemy, the Bible says is going to be eliminated forever. Means that the survivors of the final test, they are going to have children, are going to fill up the earth, and the earth, when it's filled up, the birth is going to stop. The true God is going to do that possible. Will make this possible. Because that's why he's God the Almighty. And the earth is going to have a selected number of people. Now we don't know. We'll know the world's population at that time. How much is going to be? 100 billion people, 100 billion people, or 200 billion? We don't know now, but at that time we will know it. As people today know, as these institutions know that the world's population is over 8 billion people, then we'll know. And that is going to be the same population, and is not going to be any more children because the earth is filled up. That was Jehovah's purpose for Adam and Eve, to fill the earth, not to overfill it. But we'll play with little animals. Why? Because animals will give birth to their little ones, will play with them, and they will die. You see? And that's why animals have no concept of life. They are made to live for a short period of time, and we to play and enjoy them, fresher and fresher all the time. This is not cruelty, because they don't starve or suffer emotionally, because they don't have concept of death. And when animals die, they will remind us what death is all about, because when you live for billions and trillions and trillions of years, you never die, you might forget what death is all about. You see? But when you see animals in front of you, they die constantly. That is a reminder that you have to be loyal to the true God, love him, and keep his laws and commandments. Now, as a perfect man, it's going to be very easy for you to do what is right, and to do what is wrong is extremely difficult. You will not force yourself to do that. But at the end of 1,000 years, Satan, the devil, with his demons is going to force people, even though they are perfect, to do what is bad. That's why he's going, Satan the devil and his angels, demons, are going to take 99.9% of of the world's population at that time with them. They are doing that now in Armageddon. So when Satan, the devil, and his demons are accomplishing this purpose in Armageddon by making people rebels against the good news, what we are talking here. You see, they are going to be imprisoned for 1,000 years based on the book of Revelation, because they accomplished what they wanted. Nevertheless, the true God is going to bring them back to life, to give to them a chance that they to be tested as perfect. But the Bible still says they will fall again. And this is a prophecy. So that's why we have to make our decision individually. Our parents cannot do that for us. Our parents are rebels, might be rebels. They might oppose Jehovah's sovereignty. They might oppose knowing his heavenly kingdom government. See, we cannot follow them. We have to make our own mind. We have to know these things in detail. We have to know why we are here and where we are going, because we have an endless future ahead of us. And keep in mind that very soon, the prophecy that is going to take place is Jehovah is going to put his thoughts in the minds of these world leaders to strengthen UN, which is a beast that has no teeth, is disgusting, is detestable, is abhorrible, has power to do nothing, but is going to become with teeth and is going to get dictatorial, is going to cause pain, is going to cause fear, along with Anglo-American world power and their allies. Now, we have the king of the north, which is Russia, which is China, Iran, and North Korea. They will disappear in their own before UN gets the power. Because could not be the king of the south, Anglo-Americans, with their allies, Western Europe and Canada, together with the king of the north, these four that we just mentioned, with the head Russia. So Russia, North Korea, Iran, and China will give power to UN, and they will melt, will dissolve. So this way the UN gets the power and will rule dictatorship along with Anglo-American world power. And in the last verses of Revelation chapter 20, the Bible says that in the end of 1,000 years, the dragon, Satan the devil, and his demons were thrown where the false prophet and the wild beast were, in the lake of fire, or the second death, 1,000 years before. Dragon, right, is Satan the devil, but the wild beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is United Nations, and Anglo-Americans were thrown in the lake of fire in Armageddon. So they will never come back again. Religion is the Great Tribulation. Destruction of religion constitutes the Great Tribulation, and religion is thrown into the lake of fire, or the second death, means to the point of no return. So with religion happens once, But Armageddon, in style, happens 3 times. Once with the flood of Noah, the second with Armageddon, the third with the final test. So look to the Great Tribulation, to Matthew chapter 24, Luke chapter 21, and the survivors of the Great Tribulation, Revelation chapter 7. And look to Armageddon, Revelation chapter 16, verse 16, and look to the period of peace, 1,000 years, to Revelation chapter 20. That's it. I hope you have much food for thought, and you can listen to this a few times until you get these points much more clearly in your head.